Hello everybody, welcome back. You have not seen me in a while. I've been kind of gone working on some things, in my own personal life and maybe some other things. Sorry if you can hear some background noise. My thing, my cooler is going, and then also my dad has a couple friends over, so it might just be a little bit loud. But today I'm just gonna show you a couple things that I've been really fixated on. It's some of them are notes that I've made, and I just want to show you. And some are some books that I have. There's 2 books that I'm really fixated on, and then some. That's pretty much all. So hopefully this video is like 45 minutes long. Hopefully it's only like 10 minutes long. But anyways, let's get going. Okay, so I think the first thing we're gonna start looking at, I think, is some notes. So what I've been doing lately is taking just kind of notes that I've been finding, kind of like postcards and some old postcards or newer postcards. And what I would do is I would take them and then I would, write something on them. Maybe their lyrics to some new songs or their poetry, because lately I've been really fixated on poetry. I've always been kind of fixated on poetry, but I've not really been like the way that I am now with poetry, which we'll get into poetry because I have some poetry books I want to show you. But the main thing that I want to show you is some notes. So the first one, these, and some of these might be personal notes, which I don't mind sharing, and then some of them are just kind of things that I feel like everybody already knows. So the first one says, "You can be at my wedding if I have one." Sorry if you can't see it because the light's like around it, but yeah, so it has a little cross and some flowers on the bottom, and some of these notes might not make sense, but that one kind of speaks for itself. So yeah. Also, sorry if this is like very terrible, like very bad editing. This basically is me sitting on my ground with you sitting on my chair, or one of my chairs, because I have another chair back here. And then I'm basically I have a bunch of books in front of me that I want to show you. So yeah, and you might not get none of these notes, and I'm sorry if you don't. So anyways, so I think the next one is going to be this one, and you probably have seen this picture before. It's actually on all of my platforms. It's on all of my profile pictures. It says Dan and the Flower Child, and it's a heart. Really cute. I love these hearts. You'll see kind of a repetitive kind of like heart. Like there's a lot of hearts, sacred hearts. Just hearts. I've been finding my style lately has been a lot of hearts, so that's interesting. The next one is this little, like I said, they're just like little cards that I get. This one says thank you on top. I did not write none of these like little ones up here. These came with the part, but I did write this one part on the bottom. But it said thank you for your purchase with used goods vintage Etsy. So this was an Etsy seller, and I got it in a box that has a bunch of thrifted items in it. And so on the bottom I put a little part of a poem that I wrote, and it says, "I love the green, but I hate the flowers. Why?" And you would kind of have to read the rest of the poem to kind of get it, which I believe I do have in the notebook I have here. So maybe we can read some poems, or I can read some poems. The last little drawing that I have for you that are kind of separate from my notebooks is this one that says "Love Hospital," and it's actually a song. I can't remember, but I think it's a song from the Rolling Stones, ? I might sound very like I don't know what I'm talking about like at all, but yeah, so "Love Hospital" is a really good song. I know it was covered by Florence and the Machine, But yeah, so it's actually hanging up. It was hanging up over there. So yeah, but I really, really love that. So those are my drawings. Now I think let's get maybe into my books. I have 2 books. The first one is Alan Ginsberg. I think I'm saying that right. Sorry if I butchered that. Collected Poems, 1947 to 1980. And here's what it looks like. I got this 2 days ago at my local library. Very gorgeous top. Sorry if it's shining, but there's the guy. And he is a poet himself, but he did collect these poems. So there's some poems that are about actual things that have happened, but then there's also some that are very kind of like fake, or what's that called, where it's like fake. I always forget the name. You know what I mean. So yeah, but it's very cool. I think I really, I've really been into poems, like I said, and this book has so many poems. If you go onto my Instagram, I post, I believe I post some on my stories, so you probably won't see them. I'll probably post them later. But then I believe on my TikTok, I posted, I believe so, I did post a post of some of the poems from this book. But if I can probably find maybe a little poem I can read to you. I know there's one that I've absolutely love, and it's actually about crying. I'm finding that's kind of a big part. But I think one thing, because one thing that I do struggle with a lot is stuttering, and it's a big thing that happens in my life. But I think that's why, in a way, I have always kind of hated reading in front of people. Like, as you do know, I am still in school, and that's one thing that I get very nervous is I have to read in front of people. So when I kind of get scared thinking about, I kind of get anxious sometimes thinking about, when I'm more out there with my music and all that, that I'm gonna actually have to go in front of groups of people and sing, my songs, or sing covers, and I don't know. I think that's kind of been one of the things that I've been really nervous about lately. So yeah, but I found this little poem that I've read when I first got it. It's called Epigram of a Painting of Golgotha, I think. Sorry. On a bare tree in a hollow place, a blinded form's unhold face, sight where heaven is destroyed, the hanging visage of the void. And one thing that I really love about this book is that it tells you when he collected them, and he also tells you where they're from, and the time that they were made. So this one is from New York, summer 1949. So it's it's an older one. So yeah, here's another one that was that he got from the same exact place. There's no name to this one, but I attempted to consider the total sun's ray in each poem as thought as glass, but such magnificent magnificent did not set the page afire. So if I knew how to edit, I would probably edit that part out. Sorry, I'm terrible at reading out loud. But But yeah, there's so much to this book that I absolutely love, and it's such a, it's I like it because there's such different um what's that called, like there's different poems that are together because they're collected. um there's poems about you know there's poems about things that I don't really kind of feel comfortable talking about out loud. But there's also poems that talk about love, and then there's other poems that talk about like flowers, and then there's other poems about death, and then so on and so forth. So I really like books that are like that because it's made for everybody. I'm trying to find this one that I absolutely loved. It was very pretty. It's a very pretty little poem. But what I found was I really loved small, like, there it is, 151. Oh, shit. But I tend to love very, like, smaller poems, you could say. I've been finding myself reading a lot more smaller poems than I would, like, a poem that is, like, a page long or 2 pages. And, as if you do not know, on my main account on Instagram, I post poems with, this beautiful woman. She also, I forgot her name, and if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, but I forgot your name for a second. But she puts these beautiful poems together, and she and me have been posting our poems together. And so, yeah, I think that's really cool. So if you want to go check those out, you can. I will try to find how to put my link down in the description. But, yeah, anyways. But it's called Tears. This poem is called Tears. I'm crying all the time now. I cried over the street when I left the Seattle Wobbly Hall. I cried listening to Batch. I cried looking at the happy flowers in my backyard. I cried at the sadness of the middle-aged trees. Happiness exists if I feel it. I cried for my soul. I cried for the world's soul. The world has a beautiful soul. God appearing to be seen and cried over. Overflowing heart and Peterson. And this one was from Seattle, February 2nd, 1956. So, I've been finding poems to be very, they talk about so much that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. And I think a lot of people these days need to, just kind of reconnect with poems and reconnect with reading and all that. And coming from a person that does not like reading, I don't like reading at all. I do love reading poems, but when it's kind of a 1,000-page long book, I don't really know about that one. So basically, put the phone down and no. So yeah, that was that one. Then the next book that I have is it is called Useless Magic by Florence Welch. And Florence Welch is a beautiful human being. I love her so much. She is the she's a she is the lead singer for Florence and the Machine, the band, and she's just such an amazing woman. She just does so much. in this world, and I really do love her. I get a lot of my inspiration, like for my music, I get a lot of inspiration from her. So this one has all of her albums, so Lungs, Ceremonials, How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful, Highest Hope, and then it has Poetry, Thanks, Index of Titles, Index of First Lines, and Image Credits. And I will show you a couple photos, but here's like this one, Chaos Magic, which is one, and then there's a different one. But she basically just has all different, basically just everything, you know. Here's one of her songs, Rabbit Heart, which is such a good song. You probably can't read it at all, but it's a very beautiful, you know, piece. This is my favorite art piece from the whole entire book. If you do not know, I love Sacred Hearts. Like I was saying earlier, I've been really into Sacred Hearts and into that kind of aesthetic of Sacred Hearts. And so yeah, I've been really thinking about, you know, a lot of things about Sacred Hearts and all that. So yeah. But yeah, so, you know, this book is such a you know, it's such a beautiful book, you know. I think it's such a gorgeous book. Here's some other pictures. Mary and Jesus. And then some more photos that she did. But, so yeah, there's just so much to this book. Like, I could even explain, you know, how much this book means to me. 'Cause, you know, I'm such a big fan of Florence, you know. And I know how to sing probably like almost every single song of hers, which is kind of bad to look up, especially on my mental health. But so yeah, but here's a little bit that I'm gonna read you that she made. It says, "Become a beacon, keep that flame alive. The future is within you. It burns bright in your heart. Raise your love, hold it high, let it shine for miles and miles." And then on the bottom it says, "You are not alone." So, you know, it's so she's so gorgeous, and she does, you know, she works with a lot of artists. Herself, she worked with Andrew Zenatelli, and if you don't know who that is, he is this gorgeous artist that makes Sacred Hearts, and here we go, back with the Sacred Hearts. And he makes other art pieces to go with it, and, you know, he's just such a beautiful artist altogether. Like this one that says, "A crucifix and the Hollywood sign," which is part of her song, How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful, on the album, How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful. But yeah, I think, you know, this book just has almost, you know, everything that, you know, I feel like you would want, in a way, like you would want if you're a Florence fan. Here's one of my favorites as well. It's the Virgin Mary, or Mother Mary, or whatever you call her. And it says, "No one is coming to save you." So yeah, very, very fun. And then it says on the side, "You're so high, you're so high, you're so high, you're so high. I'm always down to hide with you," which is in her song, I believe June. Yeah, June. And then this one, "Skyscrapers look down like great and blinking giants, and those heavy days in June when love became an act of defiance," which is also in her book. If you don't know who Florence Welch looks like, that is what she looks like. A very gorgeous creature. I was about to say very gorgeous creature. Well, I guess she could call herself a beautiful creature, but she is a beautiful soul altogether. So, yeah, there is a poem, though, that I wanted to read. That I really love. But yeah, so I hope I hope everybody that is a part of this, or that is here, I hope you're doing really well. um, Sorry if I sound very, like, dead. I've been going through a lot of things, and I've been trying to just kind of, settle into a couple things that have been happening, um, and mentally. So, yeah. But I'll read you this poem called "The Monster." So you start to take pieces of your own life and somewhat selfish other people's lives and feed them to the song. At what cost this wondrous creature that becomes more precious to you than the people that you took from? How awful to make human sacrifices, a late night conversation, a private thought, all placed upon the altar. But you have to satisfy the monster. The monster has loved you longer than anyone else has. So, but she writes all of the poems, and, she's just such a gorgeous, beautiful woman. So those are all the books. But there is going to be a couple of other little things that I wanted to show you. And so trying to find. I'm like going through my notebooks. I'm trying to find a couple of things I wanted to show. So I've also wanted to show you some poems that I have wrote myself. And this one is called Love and Hate. I seem to hate the flowers, but love the green. My mind hurts with love, but is healthy with hate. Do you know why? This one, to me personally, this one means, this one talks about how you can love something that is so precious, but then also hate the same exact thing. So, like, when it talks about flowers and green, flowers are green. Flowers are part of grass. Or not grass, but they're part of, plants. And then, my mind hurts with love, but is healthy with hate. And I feel like, in a way, love and hate are kind of the same exact things, but they're opposite, it's hard to it's hard to love, but then it's also hard to hate, certain things. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And then this one is the other one that I'm going to read. It's called Dreaming of Love. Dreaming is a portal to another planet of love and hope and beauty. But when you wake up, you have to become the best part of yourself, having to let go of the hate and the restrictions of the heart that keep us from falling in love often. Just keep your love together to be happy. It's going to be okay. You can dream again. And so what this one personally means to me is, it talks about, at the start, you kind of would rather be asleep and dreaming than you would be awake and having to deal with the world, but to get through the world and to get through, the hardest part of the day, you kind of have to, kind of just calm down, also, you also just need to just kind of keep still and know that, you know, you can dream again. I think the last thing I'm going to show you in this notebook is a little drawing. So on this poetry book, I found a beautiful, beautiful art piece that I just fell in love with, or not art piece, but this beautiful poem that I fell in love with. And at the end it says, "This cockroach is holy," and you'd have to read the poem. But I think I also posted it, so you can also go check it out on Instagram or Facebook. I don't know, or not Facebook. TikTok. So, but I also did a little drawing for it. Sorry if it's background. Like the other way. But yeah. So yeah, but I just did drawings with that. So yeah, I believe that's all. So I just want to say thank you so much for everybody, and I'm probably not going to be posting no songs soon, which I smile because it's kind of a good thing for me. But then there's also kind of another side that's kind of like, oh well, hopefully I don't lose any fans. But yeah, so please subscribe. I would love for you to subscribe. It means a lot, and I'm sorry, like, I don't mean to come across like I'm trying to sell you something or just trying to get followers and, you know, become this big artist, but, you know, I really do work hard and for the songs, and even if they might sound very, like, you know, like I'm literally, all I'm doing is tapping a tambourine in my hand, you know, it still takes a lot to produce it myself and to put it online and hope that I at least get some attention. So I hope, you know, and I please just follow. It means a lot, and like and share when, you know, whenever you can, maybe to other people, you know, tell your people about my music and about my art, about my poetry, whatever. And I just want to say thank you, everybody, for, if you watched to the end of this video, I just want to say thank you so much. You really do mean a lot to my world and everything in between it, both the bad and the good. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you stay, and you come along for the adventure of my music. Alright, bye guys.